Ashley. Thank you for joining me today. I have something very fun for you guys today. Welcome back to Procreate Summer Camp. We have been having so much fun with all of our summer camp activities this month. I am your camp counselor, Lisa Bardot. Hello, hello. I want to know where everybody's joining us from today. Jeff, as usual, is here with me. And who's with us today, Jeff?
I mean, we got tons of folks here, you guys. We've got Clay's here.
Hi, Clay.
Anna, Lori,
Hello, Anna.
Mona, Tammy, Lizette. Kristen Burns is here.
Hello,
we've got
hello.
Ashley. Ashley, thank you so much for that kindness there. Ashley Marlowe.
Thank you, Ashley.
D.T.I.Y.S or D is here. Eduardo. Cruz is here. Chantel is here. Chrissy is here. Natalia is here.
Wow. A lot of people. Thank you guys so much for being here. I've got a really fun lesson for you guys today. Well, first of all, I wanted to catch you up on all the fun summer camp stuff that's been going on, and that is still to come because it's not over yet. We are kind of winding down, but we still have more fun things to plan. We're celebrating our second anniversary in Art Makers Club, and to celebrate, we're doing all this really fun summer camp activities, and we've centered our Making Art Every Day drawing challenge around summer camp. So let me just tell you what's going on, and then you'll know. Go ahead and move you down here, Jeffrey. And I just wanted to show you guys our camp schedule because that is like the place where you'll learn about everything. So I'm just going to skip ahead real quick to this week, week 4. It's last week. But it's been so much fun. So today, you guys are all here for it. We're doing a really fun lesson in digital watercolor. We're gonna be painting little bugs in jars, this really sweet little illustration. So before we get into everything else, I just wanna mention we will want to download the free watercolor brushes that I have for you guys so you can follow along. It's a little sample pack of my watercolor wonder set, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But we'll put a link to that in the chat, and then you can also find a link in the description. So go ahead and download those now so you can be all ready to go when we start our lesson. So that's going on today. And then the other, the reason we're doing this is because this is inspired by one of our Making Art Every Day prompts. So these are July's prompts for Making Art Every Day. Everything is like campy related. And this week is camp activities, and you can see that the 28th is our bug catching prompt. And I feel like this week and these camp activities are a really good opportunity to try your hand out at patch making in Procreate. You can see a little patch that I've made in Art Makers Club. We had a whole, let me pull it up. I think I have it up here. We did a whole tutorial about making patches in Procreate. Here it is here. And it comes with this really fun stitch and patch toolkit that I made. It's a set of, I think 20 brushes, and it's like different kinds of stitches and brushes to make this embroidered patch effect. And it's been so much fun. Like, our members have been going wild making all the patches. Here's a few of them, and I think I've made even more since I made this image in Procreate. Like, you can see all the fun, I love this one, little patches that I made, little froggy.
And you even updated the brush set already too, right? With a little
I
star.
did, yeah, because I made this little star afterwards. It's a little stamp brush, and I added that one into the brush set. But it's been a lot of fun, and the merit badges is a really fun way to make like simple art really cool. So it's a lot of fun. If you want to try that out, you can get the brushes and watch the tutorial in Art Makers Club. And then also, speaking of brushes, another cool thing we did for our summer camp month is we released a new brush set, our Bonus Brushes Volume 3 in the club. I have it right here. So this is our third installment of bonus brushes, and it's a set of 20 brushes that is just like a really fun grab bag of different kinds of brushes and textures and things like that. You can see some artwork with the brushes. And here's a little preview. And we use these brushes all year long in the club for our different tutorials, and we get to explore them in different ways. And this set I am like very, very excited about. There's this one brush that I love, and I used it for this pear. Like, it's all this beautiful texture here. It's like absolutely my favorite. I've been wanting to make a brush like that for so long, and I have it in the set now. So that's another really exciting thing that came out this month. Then another cool thing that it's still going on right now for summer camp month is we are hosting a Draw This in Your Style contest. So there's the little artwork that I made, and anybody can join into this and draw this artwork in your own style. I have a post up on my Instagram about it, and you just draw it in your own style, share it on Instagram, and we can all see, you know, it's a fun way to make art. I don't know if you've never done a Draw This in Your Style challenge, they are really fun. It's a fun way to kind of not have to start from scratch with something. So in the club, we're also doing a little bit extra for this. We have a starter sketch for people, and we're doing a contest. So if you do this and you enter your artwork, you can enter to win a $100 gift card to Apple, Disney, or Amazon, your choice. So that's one of 2 contests. We have another fun nature walk contest where we're giving away a $100 prize as well. And yeah, we've been doing so many fun things this month. We did a bandana tutorial. You can check that on YouTube. People have been making some really beautiful art from that tutorial. I came out with a new map lesson for my map making course, and it's just been a lot of fun. And then our last tutorial for the month is coming up on Saturday. It's a bonus tutorial for Art Makers Club, and we're going to explore those new bonus brushes. And make some really cute friendship bracelet art. So this is our bonus tutorial in the club for Founders Month, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So a lot of stuff has been going on lately.
A ton of stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to get our Taylor Swift on, huh?
Yeah, we're going to get all friendshipy. And then the last thing I want to mention about our Founders Month is it is winding down, but there is still time to join Art Makers Club during our Founders Month sale. Every Founders Month we do a big sale, and we reduce our prices back to what they were when we launched the club, so it's our lowest price ever. And you can get membership for as little as $10 a month if you join with the annuals plan, which is not very much, and it's a great way to invest in your creativity and keep your creative juices flowing all month long. So if you want to take advantage of that, and you get to lock in that rate for the lifetime of your active membership, which is cool, don't wait too long because the sale is going to be ending pretty soon. So we'd love to have you in the club. We do a lot of fun stuff all the time. Okay, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into our tutorial today. So we're going to be doing this really fun, oops, let me show you. Are you down here? Good. Okay, this really fun little bug catching illustration. Like I said, it's inspired by our bug catching prompt. We're going to be doing this in digital watercolor. So make sure you get the brushes. Again, the link is in the description, but it's get.bardobrush.com/watercolor. You can get the brushes there. So we're going to be doing these really cool jars. So if you've ever struggled with how to do glass, this is kind of a stylized way to do glass jars. And we're going to put some little bugs inside. So go ahead and download the brushes. I am going to show you what is in the download once you open it up. So here it is. It's the Watercolor Wonder Sample Pack. Now this is just a little sampler of my Watercolor Wonder set, which is a really robust set of, here, I think I have it up here, 50 brushes, 5 textured canvases, and an 80-page user guide. I put so much care and effort into this user guide that gets you started making art right away. There's a little mini user guide for you guys to check out, just about the brushes. So we've got that. We've got this orange sketch, which was for another tutorial you can find on my YouTube. And then we have the brush set and a canvas. So you want to tap the brush set so that you can import it into Procreate. And let me see, it should show up at the top of your list here. And then the other thing that you want to do is open up the textured canvas, which is this one here. Okay, so when you do that, it should pop up here in your gallery. And that's what we're going to use to make the art on. It has some textures built into it that gives it really authentic watercolor texture. The first thing that we're going to do though with this canvas is we're just going to flip it so that it's a horizontal, not a vertical canvas. So I don't know if many people know you can do this, but you can take 2 fingers and just twist it here in the gallery view, and then you have it going the other way. So go ahead and do that, and then open it up. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with this illustration. So in our Watercolor Wonder sample pack, we have 3 brushes. We have the glaze hard edge round, we have the glaze dry liner, and then the core paint in water. So you'll get to see like kind of what the purpose is for all 3 of those brushes as you do the tutorial. But for now, let's go ahead and choose the glaze hard edge round. And then we're gonna go into our colors, and we're gonna pick a really light blue. So I'm gonna put my hue down here.
And I'm sorry, which canvas size were you using?
Well, actually, if you open up the, you don't wanna make a canvas from scratch. You wanna make sure you use the Watercolor Wonder sample pack canvas, like it's a Procreate file that's in that sample pack. So you wanna make sure you use that, and that way you'll have all the same texture that I'll have in your piece. Okay. All right, so we just picked the hard edge round, and now we're gonna pick a color. So again, we're gonna go into our blues, kind of a warmish blue, and then we want like a really light color. This is gonna be the color of our glass jar. So I'm doing something that's really pale, and I'll do a little swatch. Like, I feel like even that's still a little bit too bright. So I'm gonna go a little more over this way. I think that's pretty good. You can tell it's very, very subtle, but it's a clear glass, so we don't want it to be too intense. Okay, so get your pale blue, and we're gonna start by drawing the 2 jars that are kind of in the foreground. So when we're drawing this jar, the way that these brushes work best is if you can do it, your shape, all in one continuous stroke. So what I mean by that is I'm gonna make my brush size. Yeah, my brush size is at like 47%. So I'm gonna draw kind of a rounded rectangle like this. And I'm gonna keep my pencil down. I'm not lifting it up at all as I fill this shape in, and also refine the edge. If I'm like, oh, I want it to be a little bigger over here, I'll just come back over there and add more. And so my pencil I haven't picked up my pencil at all. I'm gonna keep going up to the top and add the little like mouth of the jar with one continuous stroke. Maybe I'll make these edges a little less round. So it might take a couple tries to do it all in one stroke, but it's a really simple shape. So like a nice rounded rectangle with a little mouth at the top. Okay. And then we're also gonna do a little short jar right over here. So I'm gonna not touch this jar, I'm gonna move it over a little bit, and I'm gonna draw another kind of rounded rectangle, a little bit lower, something like that. And again, I'm gonna do this all in one continuous stroke, fill it in, and then kind of round out the corners a little bit more. There we go. And then I'm gonna go up while my pencil's still on the screen and draw the mouth of the jar. Now, if you do happen to pick up your pencil in the middle, with something simple like this, I would just like maybe just start over again, but you can blend it together, but we want to keep like a consistent value for this part of the jar, so I think it's easier to just do it all in one go if you can. All right, so we've got our 2 jars there. I'm gonna make it just a little bit smaller. I'm gonna go to my transform tool and just shrink them down just a little bit. I want to have room for some nice shadows at the bottom. Okay, so this is where we should be at. We have both on one layer, and we are gonna create another layer for our jar that's gonna be in the background. So we're gonna tap the plus sign to create a new layer, and you're gonna drag this layer underneath the one with the 2 jars. So tap, hold, and drag it down. Oops, and then we're gonna set the blend mode of this layer here, actually both layers, to multiply. To get a more authentic kind of watercolor look, it's best to set anything that's on separate layers to the multiply blend mode. So we're gonna tap this little N, and we're gonna go in this list here and go to multiply. And we'll just do that for both layers. So tap the N and go to multiply. Okay? All right, so we've got our second layer at the bottom. We're gonna draw our other jar. And this one's gonna be a little bit taller than this one and a little bit set further back, so it's gonna be a little higher up too. So I'm gonna start, I'll start right here. And they're gonna kind of overlap a little bit. So I'm just drawing that kind of rounded rectangle like that. And then I'm coloring it in like that. And then I'm gonna keep going, keep my pencil on the screen, I haven't picked it up, and add the little mouth of the jar, like that, okay? And I think I'm gonna shrink it down even more because I kind of ran out of room up here. So I'm actually gonna, I like the placement of everything, so I'm gonna select both layers like this, swipe to the right. So I select both of them and then just shrink it down. So I have a little bit more room for myself. That's good. Okay, so this is what our layers look like right now, and this is what the drawing should look like. Okay, so now we're gonna make them look even more like jars by adding some different values to the edges of the jars. If you look at glass, like a lot of times, like characteristically, the edges will look a little bit darker, and that's how you kind of make it look like transparent glass. So let's select, it doesn't really matter which layer, but let's start with the one in the back, the like big jar. So select that layer. Now these brushes are glaze brushes, and there's a couple different kinds in the Watercolor Wonder set, but what these glaze brushes do is when you layer strokes, it will continuously get darker and darker the more that you layer strokes. You don't need to do this, but I just wanted to kind of demonstrate how you can layer strokes to add darkness to your watercolor piece. I'm gonna undo that. So we're gonna use that to our advantage to darken up the edges of our jars. So we're just doing this one here, and I'm just gonna kind of go around the edge a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. Oops. All right, so just, oops, go around the edge. There we go. Try to do it in one stroke if I can, but I'm gonna end up layering. And we're gonna darken up the bottom, and then I'm gonna go over it again, just a little bit less, you can see, because I want the very edge to be the darkest. And you can go over it again. It just kind of depends on how dark you had your color picked. Like if you have a darker color, it'll start getting dark really fast, but if you have a really light color, it might take a few strokes overlap, but I think something like that is pretty good. So that's what it should look like now. You can see we've overlapped a few strokes. And now we're gonna blend that so it's like a nice soft gradient. So we're gonna do that with this core paint plus water brush. So go ahead and select the paint plus water brush. My brush size is like 40% or so. And if I use this brush with really light pressure, I can kind of soften out these like hard edges of that brush stroke and get like a nice kind of like wet into wet watercolor look. So that's kind of what we want to go for. You can see the difference between those two. I'll do that along all the edges. I'm just kind of softening. And you don't want to go like too close to the edge because you don't want to soften the edge of your jar. You just want to soften the inside edge. So I'm just going to go in and soften that and blend. There we go. So it should look like a really nice gradient like that. Okay. So now we're going to do the same thing to the other two jars so that we can have them look the same. I'm going to go to the layer with the two jars and go back to that hard edge round brush. And I'm going to add some strokes around the edges like that. On this side too. And then I'm going to layer on some more strokes until I feel like it's as dark as I want it to be. For me, it's kind of like maybe like 3 strokes or so. It's more at the bottom. Okay, that's pretty good. And now I'll get that paint plus water brush and blend those out. Okay. Just blending away. If you get this, yeah, I have kind of like this like dark area. I'm just gonna blend that so it's a nice soft gradient. Nice and even. Okay. And one of the reasons why I set this blend mode to multiply is you can see it has this kind of darkening effect where the two layers overlapped, which is very glass-like. Okay, so we have one more jar to add those edges to. So I'm gonna go back to the hard edge round, add some strokes around the edge on either side and the bottom. Okay, and once I've done that, I can go ahead and blend. I'll get that paint plus water brush and blend away. Okay, so this is what our jars are looking like so far. Again, we just have the two layers for the different jars. So a couple more things to finish off the jar parts. We're gonna add a little bottom to our jar. So we're gonna go back to our brushes and we can get that hard edge round brush. And we're gonna add a little, oh, what layer am I on? Okay, I'm on the layer with the two jars that are in the front, so I'm gonna be working on those two jars. And I'm gonna make my brush size a little smaller, maybe like 20, 25, 30%, just so it's a little easier to control. And I'm adding an oval here. And that represents like the bottom of the jar. And you don't wanna go all the way to the edge here, you wanna leave a little gap. And if it's not dark enough, you can layer on another stroke to kind of darken it up, but it should look something like that. And then I'll do the same thing for this one, just a little oval like that. And I'm layering on one more stroke to make it dark, okay? And then of course, we want to do that to our back jar as well. So I'll go to that layer, tap that layer with the one jar in the background, and add a little oval to that one.
Which brush are we on with the oval?
This one is the hard edge round. I like to use this one for doing like big shapes, and then for more detail stuff, I'll use that dry liner. Okay. So the last thing to make our glass look like glass is of course some reflections. So we are actually going to use this paint plus water brush to do our reflections. So go ahead and choose the paint plus water. And then we're gonna go ahead and actually put this on a separate layer. So actually I'm gonna do these jars in front. So tap the layer with the two jars and then tap the plus sign. And I know I said you should always turn the blend mode to multiply, but this time we're not because I want that white to show up. So go ahead and just make a new layer. You don't need to change the blend mode, but we have the paint plus water brush, and then we're gonna get white as our color. So you can double tap close to white like this and it will snap to a pure white value, so you know you're getting white. But go ahead and choose white. And then brush size, I'm still at like 40%. So for these reflections, yeah, 40% is fine. You're gonna press hard and then kind of soft. And you'll see what happens if you do that is you've got nice hard edges here, and then it kind of like is soft towards the bottom. Kind of like the reflection sort of like falling off. Do that one more time. I'm gonna go a little smaller. I'll do 35%. So right about there, kind of in a little on your jar. And then I'm gonna do the same thing down here, kind of going up. So I'm gonna go hard and then kind of soft. Might take a couple tries, but it should look something like that. I'm gonna do that on this jar too. So kind of hard to soft. See how it like falls off? It's really nice. Hard to light pressure. So something like that. And then I'm gonna do just a couple more reflections, but with a little smaller of a brush size. So I'm gonna shrink my brush size down to like 20% or so, and maybe add like one more little reflection right next to it. And then maybe like one that kind of goes across the top a little bit. If you're ever wondering like where to put reflections on glass, you can always look at a reference photo. That's helpful. I'll do a couple more. Yeah. So something like that. Or just kind of like what's the word? Stylized, so it doesn't have to be exact. All right, so we've got some reflections on our jar. We need to do the same for this one in the back. So we're gonna tap the layer with the big jar in the back and press the plus sign so that we can make a new layer right above it. And go back to like 35% or so with the brush size and add a little reflection here and a little reflection there. So I did the 2, and then move your brush size back down to 20% or so and add maybe a couple more, one across there. You don't need to go too crazy with the reflections. All right, so we're finished with the glass part of this, but our jars need some lids, so that's what we're gonna do next. Okay. So let's tap on the layer with like our topmost reflections, and we're going to tap the plus sign. One thing I forgot to mention when I was talking about this canvas is this group right here, and that's what actually gives all of this the watercolor texture. So you want to make sure if you are adding more layers, you always place it below this kind of group layer here. So just want to mention that. Okay, so make a new layer above everything else, and we're actually going to switch to that dry liner brush so we can just be a little bit more precise with things. So choose the glaze dry liner, and let's add a lid to this jar first here. And you can do whatever colors you want for your lids, but I'm going to choose like a nice bright blue, like nice like cobalt blue. Okay. So this is another one where we're gonna do it in one continuous stroke. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw an oval, kind of the same shape oval as you drew at the bottom of the jar. So something like that. And it's a little, you can see it's a little wider than the jar mouth opening. And then we're gonna also draw the edges. So we'll just go down and then draw the bottom of it like that, and then fill it in. And I did that all with one stroke. That way it's a nice even shape and I don't have to blend anything. So I drew the oval and then I added kind of like a perpendicular line. I'll get to do this two more times so you'll get to see it again. But make that shape. And then we're gonna layer on another stroke to kind of give this like a 3D look. So we're gonna just now do only the side of the lid. So I'm gonna start here and kind of draw the bottom of the oval and then like color in this whole part down here. And because the glaze brush darkens if you layer strokes, we got a nice like 3D look to our lid. Should look something like that. Okay. And then you can also use this brush to draw some little lines, but I feel like that's probably not dark enough. So you can always just get a little bit darker color. I just went like a bit darker on this blue. And there, I can see those a lot better. And then add some kind of parallel lines. I think I said perpendicular before, I meant parallel. Parallel lines. Okay. So there's one jar lid for our jars. I feel like I made it a little crooked, so I'm gonna straighten it out with the transform tool. Okay, and let's put jars on our other lid. So I'm gonna do this one next. Same layer. Let's do a green, or you can do whatever you want. I'm gonna do green. So I'm gonna choose a nice green color. Not too dark, not too light. And again, I'm gonna draw the oval. Like this, color it in, and then draw down for the side of the lid, and then a parallel line along the bottom, and then color that all in. Okay. All right, now I'm going to do a second layer, layer on a second stroke. So I'm drawing the bottom edge of that oval again. And then the bottom, like the edge of the jar lid, the lid, and color it in. Okay. All right, and then some lines. I don't know if I want to, maybe I'll go a little bit darker with my color for the lines. There we go. Some little lines on my jar. All the way down. Okay. All right, and one last time, we're gonna do one more lid on this third jar. I wanna do a pink lid, so I'm gonna choose a nice bright pink color for this lid. And I'll do that one more time. A big oval, like that. Color it in, keep my pencil down, draw the edge like this, and then color it in all in one stroke. Great. And then I'll draw the edge of the jar, draw the bottom of the oval. Oops, do that one more time. There we go. And color in the bottom of the lid. There we go. And then I'll do the lines. So I'm gonna get a darker pink. I already know we probably need a darker color. Oops. Oh, even darker. I'm gonna, sometimes when it's like a red, it's really saturated, it's hard to make it dark, so you need to add in like more black to your color by going this way if you want it to look like much darker. I might go a little darker than that. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Okay. All right, we got 3 lids. So, because we're gonna be catching some bugs in these jars, we do need to poke a few holes in the top because, of course, you need to do that. So let's go ahead and do that next. We're gonna keep using this glazed dry liner brush. For the color, I'm gonna go do like a dark gray. I'll move into the oranges, but like a brownish grayish color, something like that. Not completely black. And then the size, I'm gonna go a little bit smaller. 6% is the size that I'm using for this brush. And again, it's the dry liner. Okay, so now you're gonna draw some more ovals, just little small ones, the same angle as we've been drawing all our ovals. However many holes you wanna add, draw that many little ovals. So it should be something like that. And then we're even gonna make our little holes look 3D by layering on another stroke. So what we're gonna do here is, this is a little bit easier to see if the brush wasn't so dark. So I don't wanna use like a super dark color. I'm gonna do it one more time, but like not quite so dark. You can see the 3D effect if it's not super dark. Okay, so I'm just going a little bit that way. And then drawing my ovals. Yeah, that's good. All right, drawing my little holes. And then I'm gonna add one more stroke, but I'm gonna leave like a little strip of it visible of the, like not draw over part of it like that. And that's like kind of the edge of the lid, and then, you know, hold down. So just like layer on another stroke, but leave like the top part still there. Like, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Like, don't cover the top part. There. And then we'll have this kind of like 3D hole. Okay. All right, so now my jar has holes and they even look kind of 3D too, which is great. So go through all your lids and make all your holes. Again, we're gonna do lots of little ovals like this. And then we're gonna go over our ovals, whoops, a second time by leaving the top part of it. Just go over the bottom a little bit. Yeah, that's good. Okay, there's my green jar, and now I'll do my pink jar. ovals. And then, oops. And then go over it a second time, like that. A lot of repetition in this drawing, which is good. I think repetition is good practice. Okay. All right. You can see that one. Okay. So we've got our jars, we've got some lids, we poked some holes in them, and now it's time to get some bugs in there. So let's go up to our layers, and we're going to be putting the bug artwork in between the jar and the reflection layers. So let's start with this bottom jar here, the one that's the big one in the back. And then you're just going to tap the plus sign, so that way there's a layer in between the jar and its reflections in between that layer. And for the brush, let's do the hard edge round. Go ahead and choose that. And I'm gonna do a little butterfly. I'm gonna do a cute little orange butterfly. So I'm gonna choose an orange color. There we go, something like that. Not completely over to the edge, there you go. So I'm gonna make my little butterfly orange. So I'm choosing orange. And now I'm gonna try and draw the wings of the butterfly in one continuous stroke. So I'm gonna draw kind of like a curve like that, and then kind of come back in to make this sort of like triangle shape. I don't know, that color looks a little muddy. I'm gonna pick a brighter one. I like my brighter colors. There we go, I'm a little brighter. Okay, I'm gonna do that one more time. So it's gonna be a curve, and then it's gonna go down, and then it's gonna come back in like that to make the butterfly wing shape. And I'm gonna keep my pencil down and draw the bottom of the butterfly, just like a little kind of teardrop shape like that. I'll do it one more time. So it's gonna go curve, down, and then back in to make the triangle, and then the bottom. So something like that. And then I'm gonna add my like butterfly details using the same color, just by layering my strokes, because it'll get darker. So for the kind of design, I'm gonna keep it really simple. I'm gonna do kind of like a little, I don't know, teardrop shape like that, and then another one off to the side, and then another one like that. And I'll do the same thing kind of on the bottom. So one down the middle, one off to the side. So that's kind of like my little design. And then I'm just gonna add some dots. Some little dots wherever. It seems like it could use a dot. So like 3 down here. There we go. So I'm keeping my butterfly design really simple. Okay. And then I'm gonna do the butterfly body next. So I'm gonna choose kind of a grayish brownish color, not too dark, something like that. And then I'm gonna draw the body. I'll use the same brush, which is the Glaze Hard Edge Round. And I'm just gonna do like a, I don't know, like a hot dog shape. Something like that. Actually, I'm gonna do it one more time. Move it a little lower. There you go. Okay. And then I'm gonna switch to the dry liner so that I can do some little details on this. So I'm gonna choose dry liner, and I'll use the same color. I think it should work just fine to like draw some little lines. Can make some thick, some thin, just for visual interest. There we go. And then I'm gonna do a little eye, and I wanna make the eye darker, so I'm just gonna go over it a second time, like that. And then some antenna. So I just did like a little line and then kind of did a little ball kind of shape at the top. Do one more. Oops. This brush does get kind of dry depending on how much pressure you use, but I want it to be not a broken line. Okay. There's a little butterfly. And I kind of want it tilted this way just a little bit, so I'm just going to use my transform tool, little arrow, and then rotate it with this green node. There we go. That way it looks like it's a little flying and it's not straight up and down. Great. All right, we've got our first bug. Let's do another one. We're gonna do this little jar in the front, the little squat fat jar. So let's go to our layers, and I'm going to tap the layer that has that jar, one with the 2 jars. Tap the plus sign to create a new layer, and we'll start drawing our little buggy here. I'm going to do a little caterpillar, like a little green caterpillar. So let's go ahead and switch back to that hard edge round brush, and then a green, like a really yellowish kind of green for this. Something like that. Nice and bright. You can see how it looks. Maybe a tiny bit darker. It's good to draw a swatch and just see how you like the color. Okay. So now we're gonna draw a little caterpillar. You can really draw whatever bugs you want in your jars, but that little green caterpillar would be cute. Okay, so I'm going to just draw little ovals for the sections of my caterpillar, and it's okay if they overlap a little. I'm going to even make it kind of go up and then back down, if this fits. I want it to come back up again, so we'll see if it fits. Back up. It might be too big. And then the head, I'll make bigger. Yeah, I think it works. And I can always shrink it down. It's on the same layer as the butterfly. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, I forgot. It's on a separate layer. Never mind. I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. Okay, so there's my little caterpillar. And then I'm going to add a little bit of shading to the bottom of the body just by layering some more strokes down here. So I'm just going to, like, do this. Just use the same brush, same color, and just kind of, like, add some strokes along the bottom, and then we'll blend those out with that paint and water brush. Like that. A little bit on the head, not too much. Okay, so it should look something like that. And then we can get the paint and water brush and just kind of soften. Oops. You need to adjust the brush size if you end up like kind of blending out the edges of your shape. You just want it to be inside the shape. There you go. So I'm just blending those. Good. And again, when I'm doing this paint water brush, I'm using very light pressure to do the blending. Here. All right, so there's a little caterpillar. I'm gonna add some little like red dots along there. And I'll use the dry liner for that. And I'll just choose a red color. See how that looks. That's good. Okay, so for the dots, I'm just doing little ovals. Kind of like that. Very simple. Okay, so it should look like that. And then we'll give this little guy a face as well. So I'm going to choose like a dark gray color for that. And I'll give it a little smile. A little smile. There we go. And then an eye. I'm going to make the smile a little bigger. Maybe thicker. It looks too big. I don't know. What do you guys think? Yeah, that's cute. I like that. Little smile. And then a little rosy cheek as well. You can get like a pink, just like a really, really light pink color. And then do a little rosy cheek right there. Very cute. There's our little caterpillar.
I love that Anna Faye was saying they look like little olives.
They do. I don't think caterpillars have antenna, right? They don't, do they? I don't know.
I'd have to look.
Anyways, I didn't put it on there. You can add legs and things if you want, but I'm going to keep it really simple. Okay, one more bug. We're going to do a little snail in this one over here. So we're going to be on the same layer as the caterpillar. We're going to switch back to that hard edge round brush. Let's go ahead and select that. And then I'm going to do a snail with like a teal shell because I thought that'd be fun. So I'm going to be here in the like greeny blue area and then choose like a teal kind of color.
So what I love about bugs is always looking up this interesting thing. So some caterpillars seem to have horns or antennas visible on their heads, but you're actually seeing tentacles.
Oh.
So most caterpillars'
wow.
antennae are very small and inconspicuous, located near their mouth. While the tentacles are large, fleshy, and can occur in several places along the top of the body.
Well, tentacles, huh? Jeff can always come in with the facts. Like he'll bring us the facts. I'm like, wonder what that thing is actually called, and he'll look it up and tell me. Okay, so again, we've got the glazed hard edge round. We've got a teal color for our brush. So for the snail shell, what size do I have? Like 40%. We're gonna draw kind of off to one side because we need room for the head. I'm going to draw a circle, kind of like this, keep my pencil down, and then I'm going to come over this way and like add the kind of opening to the shell, like that. So that's where like it'll swirl around. I probably made it too big, so I'll do it one more time just so you can see it again. So circle, and then I'm going to come over this way and add kind of like a flat part. Almost looks like, I don't know. It looks like a shell, I guess. There we go. So there's that. And then we're going to, see this little dip here? It bothers me. And I could redo this, but maybe I'll just give you a little tip. Like when I don't want to redo this, I'll often use the liquify tool to kind of like push things out. So I'll just show you that really quick. Go to the adjustments menu, liquify. So if you ever you're like, I just wish that was out a little bit, use the push and probably make my brush size smaller. And then you can just push it out and you can refine your shapes this way. And it's a lot faster than having to redraw stuff a lot of times. Okay, so we just did that. Now we're going to add our swirl. So we're going to start here in this little kind of in point. And we're gonna just layer on a little swirl like that. And then we're gonna use this, we're gonna do the same thing to add a little bit more shadows. So I'm just gonna layer on a stroke kind of like right there, a little bit under here, like that. And we're gonna blend these out too, so no worries. A little bit right there, and maybe even a little bit there. And you could, again, layer strokes as much as you want to get the darkness that you want, but just a few. And then we'll use that paint and water brush to kind of blend those out. Leaving one edge like a hard edge, and then the rest kind of like blend it out. So you can see like I have a hard edge there, and then it softer. And then we'll blend, we'll blend this side and leave this kind of edge a little harder. And then same thing here, I'll blend this side. And you can kind of zoom out now and see how that gives it like a nice round feel. I'm gonna blend the inside here really small, so I'm gonna go really small with my brush size and just kind of blend that a little bit. There we go. So there's our shell. And then we're gonna add the head. I still think I probably made this a little too big, so I'm just gonna use my select and transform to shrink it down. You can go to the little selection tool and then just draw a selection around it, and then go to your transform tool and make it a little smaller. Okay, I need room for the body, so I just moved it a little bit. Okay, so we're still, we gotta switch back to the hard edge round brush. And I'm gonna do like a peachy pink kind of body. So I'm gonna go over here into like the pink, red, almost pink color. and choose like a nice warm pink like that. And we're gonna do the body all in one continuous stroke. So I'm gonna start, I don't know, I'll start down here maybe. I'm gonna do that again. I'm gonna come up in there. There we go, there's the bottom of the body, and then I'm gonna come up and come out a little bit. I'll make that a little bit thicker. There we go. I think that's a good shape for the body. And I did that all with one continuous stroke, like that. Okay, and then you can also add a little bit of shading, maybe under the shell or something if you want, maybe along the edge, and then blend that out. Optional if you want to do that. A little bigger with my brush size. It was really small from when I did that tiny part. Okay, there's a little snail. I'll use that dry liner with the same color to add his little... Okay, this was a question I was asking myself when I was doing this. Are the little antenna things the snail's eyes? Answer that question, Jeff. I've always felt like that's their eyes.
Wait, say that again?
Like, you know how snails have their little horns?
Uh-huh.
Are those their eyes?
That's a great question. Stephanie was asking, do we have multiply on for the bug layers?
So I didn't for this one, and I normally do, but I kind of, when I was doing this one, I liked, I'll turn it on. I liked having it kind of not interact with the layer below it, because you see how you can kind of like see through it to see the bottom of the jar. If you don't have on multiply, things are a little bit more opaque, or they will be opaque, except for where the brush is kind of transparent. It is a little confusing, but I liked it for the bug layer because it kind of didn't interact with the layers under it, if that makes sense. So anyways, okay, so I just drew the little antenna things for the snail. Basically just a line with a little dot at the end.
Well, as we just learned with caterpillars,
are they tentacles?
Are tentacles, and that's where the eyes are.
They are the eyes. Okay. I accept that as fact because it is, but I'm still going to draw the eye down here. You guys, we can take liberties with our art. It's fine. Okay, so I'm going to do a little eye because it's just gives it more personality. It's like more of a character than an accurate scientific drawing. Okay, a little happy snail. Very cute. Maybe the snail should also have a cheek, little rosy cheek. You can get a little pink if you want. Aw, how cute. I love that. Okay. All right, we did our bugs. I'm gonna add one last detail, and that is a little bit of shadow under the jar because they look like they're just kind of floating in space. So we're gonna create a new layer, tap the plus sign, and we're gonna put this layer under everything else. So drag it all the way down to the very bottom. We're gonna do our shadows with the paint and water brush. And we'll choose just like a kind of middle grayish color. Oops. Paint and water, yes, I got the right. Kind of a gray like that. And we'll need a bigger brush size for this. Yeah, my brush size is like 50% or so. And so what you're gonna do, I'll do this one first, is right under the jar, you're gonna kind of use medium pressure to add some gray, and then soft pressure to kind of like soften out that shape. So it's like a shadow that kind of like falls off, I guess. I'm gonna do it one more time because I feel like I did it too slow while I was explaining it. So I'm gonna draw like heavy pressure. That's actually why this brush is called Paint Plus Water, because you can paint with it and then like water to kind of like soften it and blend it out. I have some brushes in the full set that are like specifically for blending that don't add paint. I feel like I made it too big still. I'm gonna do it one more time. I keep talking during it and okay, and then soften that out. There we go, that's a little bit better. It doesn't need to be like a massive shadow. Okay, so that's good. I'm gonna do one under each of the jars. So I'll do this one. Kind of soften that out, blend it out. And then this one as well. Little heavy pressure to draw a kind of oval and then soften it out. I'm gonna do that one again. Okay, good enough, I think. And then because it looks like so dark underneath that, I'm actually gonna erase away where the shadow is under the jar to make it look a little bit more realistic. So for the eraser brush, we're gonna go to our eraser brush, and you can just choose the hard edge round brush as your eraser. And then you're gonna erase away the edge of the jar, like that, so that the shadow is like only under the jar. Kind of running into a problem here where this shadow is meeting up with that, but I'll blend that out. Let's just erase the bottom of the jar. There you go. Don't worry about that. I'll come back to that. Erase. And then I'm gonna blend that area out again with my paint and water brush. There we go. And then I think, actually no, it looks pretty good. That's kind of our last little detail for this piece. I really hope you enjoyed painting it with me. As I was putting this one together, I did feel a little bad about like keeping bugs in jars. Like that kept going through my head. I'm like, oh, it's kind of sad that they're like stuck in their little jars. So if you're feeling bad about your bugs in jars like me, you can pull them out just for fun. I go to the layer with the caterpillar and just select him, and oh, now he can be over here. And then we can put this guy, we'll put him over there. Maybe we'll flip him around. He's going off on a new adventure now. And our butterfly is set free. So, anyways.
I love you, Lisa.
I know. I'm like, oh, the poor little bugs. Now they're free. Goodbye. All right, I'm going to put it back up. All right. I would love to see your bugs in jars illustrations. If you're sharing them on Instagram, please feel free to tag me at Lisa Bardo or at Bardo Brush, or both is great. I used to make hashtags for these things, but I don't have a hashtag. So just tag me. That way I can see your work and share it, because I cannot wait to see them. Okay, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope if you're an Art Makers Club member, join me on Saturday for our next live tutorial. We're going to be making friendship bracelets and exploring our new bonus brushes. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if you're not an Art Makers Club member, it's not too late to join while we're doing the sale and get a really good deal on your membership. So I hope you do, and can't wait to see your bugs. Have a great day and happy art making. Bye-bye.